Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Family, what's good? It's your boy. Welcome back to Suits and Scents. And thank you for tuning into the channel. Okay, family. We're going to get right to it. Icon. Fragrances. All right, this is to me, of course. All right, let's put this out there. Your list might be, well, I'm going to say it will be completely different than mine. Okay? It will be completely different than mine. But this is my top 20 iconic fragrances. Now, when I say iconic, I'm not referring to popular from what I like. Okay? Because a fragrance can be iconic or popular to someone else, but not to you. That doesn't mean that it's not an iconic fragrance. You know, that it set a high standard for the fragrance industry as far as sales, popularity, people just truly enjoying that fragrance. All right, iconic, a personal thing regarded as a representative symbol or as a word or as worthy of veneration to its subject. Okay, now what does that say? Must be something of importance. All right, it's a big deal. Because, you know, those that are in the football world, you know, they regard some players as icons of the game. All right, meaning that, you know, they laid the path somewhat. Okay, so that's what I got, my 20 fragrances that I consider icons of the game. We'll start with 20 all the way down to number 1. All right, first time viewers, thank you for tuning to the channel and welcome to Suits and Scents. Before you make any decisions, go back, check out some of the previous videos from Suits and Scents, and we will go from there. Continue, viewers. Much love. Truly appreciate you. Truly, truly appreciate you. Can't stop, won't stop, not gonna stop, not gonna happen. Why stop? Why? We're just not doing it, okay? All right, so we're gonna let the intro roll. We're gonna come right back and we're gonna dive into it. All right, let's get at it, fam. Let's do this. All right, fam. For number 20. Wait a minute. Let's pull this up here because some of these fragrances I don't have because I just didn't want them or didn't like them. But that doesn't mean they're not iconic, right? That does not mean that they are not iconic because these are my 20. I believe they're iconic. I believe, you know, they help lead the way or, you know, contribute to the fragrance industry, and they laid their mark. You know, they left their mark, in other words, left their name or whatever, and went from there. All right, for number 20, my fragrance is S.I. Giorgio Armani. You know, this is for the women, but it's a beautiful fragrance. Came out 2013. It was also absolutely, it was, when it came out 2013, you know, it I'm not gonna say caught the people by storm, but it did. Now I smelled it recently. Well, the first time I smelled it probably about a year ago. That was the first time I ever smelled it because it was a woman's fragrance. And I was, you know, trying to really just get into this fragrance game or whatever. Oh, maybe a year and a half ago, whatever. And I thought it was a really, really nice fragrance. I mean, they say it's woman, man. I think if, you know, a man, well, maybe not, but still. That's my number 20 for iconic fragrances for the house of Giorgio Armani to see. Beautiful fragrance, popular fragrance, but once again, iconic. Well, I guess you could put popular to it, but it might not be popular to everyone. Everyone might not like a fragrance, but that still doesn't mean that it's not iconic. Okay, for instance, let's see. You have if you're a sports lover, you have players that are considered iconic. For instance, Michael Jordan. He's iconic. He's an icon. He, you know, accomplished so many things within the basketball realm that he became an icon. But I guarantee you, Indiana and New York fans do not like Michael Jordan. But that doesn't mean he's not iconic. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? The fragrance C. It's an iconic fragrance, but you just might not like it. Okay, all right, let's get to 19. All right, family. Next for number 19, going to the house of Calvin Klein, and it was Obsession. Come on. When Obsession came out, I said 1985. When Obsession came out, look, it was a woman's fragrance, and everybody was wearing Obsession. Obsession was just absolutely beautiful. Everybody loved it. It just took the world by storm. You know, that's when designer fragrances, you know, they ruled everything. Designer fragrances was popular. They were inexpensive. They were in all of the retail stores, everything. Calvin Klein was taking the world by storm in the early 80s with Obsession. And that's what number 19 is. Okay, Obsession. Let's get to 18. All right, family. In the 18th spot, going to the house of DoshaGabana, and it's The One. Now, both of them was hit makers. The One for men and for women. Both of them were truly hit makers. But we're gonna go with for 18th spot, DoshaGabana, The One. Now this one, this one I need to replenish it. Just haven't, because it's dirtball cheap right now. And when this came out, absolutely gorgeous. It took the world by storm. Everybody was getting it and spraying it. The designer brand in the early 80s and 90s, man, they just controlled everything. They controlled everything, which, you know, was the way of the world. That's how things were. And well, at least in the States it was, because, you know, niche was, you know, it was there, but it wasn't as popular as the designer fragrance. And that's what we got in the 18th spot. DoshaGabana, The One. All right, let's get to 17. Okay, family, next up on the list, going to Jean Paul Gaultier. Yeah, early 80s again. Well, this more so the mid 80s. Came out in 85 as well, mid 80s. But from then until now, it has established itself as an icon in the fragrance world. So it's still popular. People still talk about this fragrance with Jean Paul Gaultier. They still talk about it. So that's why I believe it establishes itself as an icon amongst the fragrance popularity. Well, I'm not gonna say popularity, amongst the fragrance industry, we're gonna say. Okay, Jean Paul Gaultier, that's in the 17th spot. All right, let's get to 16. All right, family, next going to the house of Tom Ford, and it's Black Orchid. Black Orchid. Now, me personally, this came out in 2006. I truly believe that this was one of the pioneer, well, I can't say pioneer, but one of the fragrances that crossed where the gender neutral stage. You know, it's sweet, just right for a woman, but slightly strong enough for a man. It was warm, spicy, that a little earthy tone to it. Absolutely, this one right here. And now, Black Orchid, I mean, I truly believe that is an icon of the fragrance industry. If anybody did a top 20, Black Orchid would have to be in there. I guarantee you, Black Orchid would be there. 2006, family. All right, let's get to 15. All right, family. Now in the 15th spot, look, everybody remember this one. Everybody remember this one. The year 1988. 1988. Were you around in 1988? If you were, and you were into fragrances, you would remember Cool Water. Man, look, when Cool Water came onto the scene in the late 80s, boom, it took over. It grabbed the fragrance world by the throat, and it choked it out, and it held on to it. Every man in the 80s had Cool Water. I guarantee you, every man had it. There was not no one or no man that was into fragrances that, especially young white men was just rolling with the Cool Water. I mean, you know, of course, the producer of it, but Cool Water in the late 80s transcended the fragrance industry into a whole different realm. It did, and it just ran with it. Cool Water, 1988. That was the year, baby. The 80s, man. I'm telling you, the 80s, boy. If you an 80s baby, you know about Cool Water. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, family. Next, we're going back yet again to the House of Tom Ford, 2006. Now, I got two of them because they both came out in the same year. So I got two of them for number, what spot we at? For number 14. For number 14, I got two from the House of Tom Ford. It's Tobacco Vanille and Oud Wood. They both came out in 2007. I'm sorry. They both came out in 2007, and they were absolute monsters. I mean, now, well, let's, okay. Oh, God. Oh, shoot, forgot it. Listen, to me personally, I think Tobacco Vanille is more of an icon than Oud Wood. It's just that the popularity of Oud Wood, I think it hit people late. Because when it first came out, I don't think it was as big as Tobacco Vanille when it first came out. But when Oud Wood started infiltrating other people's nostrils, bam, it took off. And at this current time and date, both of those, I believe, are icons of the fragrance industry. Tobacco Vanille and Oud Wood from the House of Tom Ford, 2006. Two icons in the game, all right? All right, let's get to 14. All right, family, my bag. I'm at 13. We're at 13. Okay. You know about the gold bar, what it is. Coco Chanel 1 Million Lucky. Came out in 2015. Listen, shoot, hold on. Wait a minute. I know y'all like, I know this dude ain't stopped the video to wipe his glasses. Yeah, man, got to. All right. Okay, there we go. Listen, Coco Chanel 2015. I could have edited that, but why? Keep it moving. When this one came out, master of the game. Look, it's only been out, 9 years, and it is taken. It took, when it hit the ground running. Another designer fragrance hit the ground, came out running. Everybody was on it. And the icon status is to where there are so many spin-offs of this, of 1 Million Lucky from the original one. You got so many of them there. Just like Sauvage. Little note, Sauvage not on this list. And I'm not saying it's not, little side note, I'm not saying Sauvage isn't an icon, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. So to my list, it's my icon list. Sauvage, I don't know. I mean, it's a good fragrance, but I don't have not one Sauvage fragrance. I know. But anyhow, 1 Million Lucky, yeah. Number 13, 2015. That is truly an icon of the fragrance industry. Not only because of popularity, but because everyone talks about it. Everyone liked it. Men and women truly love it. Okay, all right, let's get to number 12. All right, this is another one in the 12 spot. This is another one that completely took over and ruled everything when they came out. CK1, 1994. 1994, when CK1 came out, whoa, man. Back then we had things called, which are really evaporating somewhat or disappearing from off the earth. We had a thing called the shopping mall, and that's where everybody hung out. That's where everybody hung out at. You had the movie theaters there, the game room, the video game rooms there. The girls were there. Everybody went to the mall. That's where you hung out at. And everybody that was in the mall in the early 90s was wearing CK1. 1994, everybody was wearing CK1. Absolutely beautiful, man. When that fragrance came out, it was in unison wherever you went. Everybody had on CK1. That fragrance, when it came out, just took over the early 90s and 94, early mid 90s. Well, I ain't gonna say, yeah, the mid 90s, that CK1 came out, took over, and boom, that's what you had, CK1. That was the number 12 spot. All right, let's get to 11. Okay, fam. Next, going to the House of Bond, number 9, and it was Lafayette Street, That's in my 11th spot. And the reason why I put this here, because when this came out, that fruit and that vanilla vibe blended together add a different type of sweetness to the fragrance industry that I don't think the world was ready for. And this one took the world. Oh God. Haven't worn this in a minute. And it took the world by storm. Lafayette Street Bond number 9 came out 2018. And was it 2018? Yeah, 2018. And when this one came out, the popularity grew. It started infiltrating individuals' nostrils, and it just went from there, and it became a fan favorite. And all the YouTube videos when it came out, and all the popularity videos when it came out, Lafayette Street was a part of that collection. I guarantee you. Once again, if you was to do a top 10, Lafayette Street would be in one of those videos. I guarantee you. Lafayette Street, absolutely beautiful. 2018. That's in my 11th spot. All right, let's get to number 10. All right, family. Next, for the 10th spot, we got White Diamonds, Elizabeth Taylor. This was another popular fragrance amongst the ladies. Came out in when did White Diamond? 1991. And I don't know about now, but I know when it first came to the line, they used between, I think, 60 and 70 fresh flowers for each bottle for the fragrance White Diamonds. And but I can still remember the commercial of Elizabeth Taylor, laying on that couch, Chase or whatever it's called, in her white or whatever, and she had the diamonds around her neck, and her black hair, and her, her makeup, the iconic Liz Taylor. Come on, she's an icon within herself. And White Diamonds came out, and the women loved it, especially white women. It was an absolute hit. White Diamonds, Liz Taylor, 1991, early 90s, but I'm telling you, them designer fragrances, they ruled the world. All right, let's get to number 9. All right, family, next we're going to the house of Roja Dove, and it is Elysium. All right, the original came out in 2017. Another fragrance that is a true icon in the fragrance industry. When this one came out, again, it infiltrated individuals' nostrils, and boom, it ran with it. Gone. No turning back. You got a whiff of it, you was in love with it. Roja Dove had a hit with this one. Just the scent DNA was different than, most things that were already out there, because by the time this came in 2017, everything was in competition with another fragrance that is on this list that was considered the king. But this one took a different spin on it in a sweeter way. This how Elysium really became a fan favorite amongst fragrance connoisseurs, and it was absolutely beautiful. Not was, but still is absolutely beautiful fragrance. All right, that's in the 9th spot, Elysium. Okay, House of Roja Dove. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, family. Next we're going to the House of Parfums de Marly, and the fragrance is Layton. An icon within itself, within the House of Parfums de Marly. It's one of their staple fragrances. The apple in here, it's absolutely done right. Absolutely done right. When this one hit the scene, 2016 as well, took off running. It took off running. Everybody loved it. It was flocking to get it. Now, one thing I'm gonna say, the prices when these fragrances came out, nothing like the prices that they are now. Just absolutely crazy. Inflation and house makers just being greedy somewhat. Now I understand some of the ingredients, are a little bit expensive, but prices too. I mean, of course you got to turn a profit. Yeah, I get all that, but I mean, cut some deals, some sales or something. Help people out. Times are hard, but you still want them to buy your fragrances. Meet in the middle. No, anyhow, number 8. Number 8 is Layton. The apple, absolutely beautiful, icon within the house and within the fragrance industry. Once again, infiltrated individuals' nostrils, and it was gone. No coming back, over with, done, late. All right, let's get to number 7. All right, fam, the next one, going to the house of Initio Parfums, and it is Oud for Greatness. Now listen, 2018 was the year it came out. I'm gonna be honest with you. When this first came out, I truly wasn't feeling it. Why? I don't know. I just wasn't feeling. I just wasn't getting that type of oud yet. And then again, when it first came out, my nose wasn't as educated as it is now. But because my girl Brooke at Neiman Marcus, she's no longer there now. She migrated south, but still got Wendy and Francesca. She was telling me, look, you don't know what you're missing with this. You need to get it. Because it's gonna be gone. And lo and behold, I didn't get it when it first came out, and it was sold out, and I had to wait for them to bring in new shipments for it, which took a minute. But when it did come back in, I got it because I got the sample and I wore the sample. And no, actually, I had forgot I had the sample, and I had put it on one day, and man, fell in love with it. Called us like, you guys said, nah, they all sold out. You got what's on. So boom. So anyhow, that's a little short story with that. But Oud for Greatness is truly an icon in the fragrance industry. Infiltrated individuals' noses like it did mine. I can truly say it infiltrated my nose. But when I first wore it, when I first wore it, I did it on paper. That's what it was. I did it on paper, and I think I did it on my hand, but I just wasn't feeling it. But then when I sometime later had a sample of it, put it all over for a whole day, the thing started hitting my nose, infiltrating, and it moved in and started living. I was like, man, this is a really, really nice fragrance, and went from there. Oud for Greatness, true icon of the industry. All right, let's get to number 6. Okay, family. Next, going to the house of Guerlain, and it is Shalimar. All right, Shalimar. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this was one of the first Oriental perfumes that was created and came to line, I think, in 1925, and it was inspired by the gardens of the Taj Mahal. So that right there is true inspiration right there. So Shalimar, 1925, definitely an icon in the industry, because just by longevity alone from when it first started to now, and people still buying it. Yes, more geared toward the older generation, but it's still a really good scent, still an iconic scent. Just the name Shalimar, but there's even a musical group named after the fragrance. So what does that tell you? It's an icon in its own. All right. Okay, let's get to number 5. Let's get to number 5, fam. All right, fam. For the 5th spot, going to the house of Giorgio, and it's the house king for Giorgio. The house king for Giorgio, and it's none other than Naxos. Came out in 2015. Now, this one didn't have to grow on you, because the tobacco and the honey is done right in this one. One of the first fragrances that came out that blended tobacco and honey in a way to where they don't overtake each other. They're blended right. It's warm. It's sexy. Everybody loves Naxos. Beautiful. You'd say it's a household name, basically. So therefore, it gains the icon status. Naxos, beautiful fragrance. 2015 when it came out. Ever since then, what's that? What are we in? 24. What's that? 9 years. Beautiful scent, icon status. Absolutely beautiful, family. All right. Okay, let's get to number 4. Let's get to number 4. Okay, family. Next, now you can see this bottle is empty. I went through this bottle, so I had it for a minute. BR 540. What is there else to say? Came out in 2015. When it came out, it just did a tidal wave from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. Boom, took over everything by storm. It did. From the north to the south. When it came in there, it grabbed everything and boom, it just took everything. 2015, BR 540 came onto the scene, and ever since then, it's been laying staples for its name. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was at the airport, and I had on Side Effect, and the lady behind the counter was saying, "What is that you wearing? BR 540?" Everything that smelled similar to it everybody assumes it's BR 540. Okay, everybody assumes BR 540. Therefore, it has gained the icon status, and it always will have it. Okay, BR 540. The price tag tells that too. All right, let's get to number 3. All right, fam. Next, for the number 3 spot, going to the house of YSL, and it's Opium. Now, the thing about Opium is, when YSL released it, they received so much flack, so much backlash, and well, I'm gonna say everybody, but Congress and a lot of protesters were fighting against YSL to change the name of Opium. And that was because, you know, the thing that was going on the war back, the Vietnam War back there, and how opium had introduced itself to the States, the drug opium, and how it was just, you know, it was the new drug that was just, you know, just running amok basically, and it took over the drug world. But they refused to change it because the fragrance itself had that potency of opium. Not that it was negative, but just that how it just captivated you, and, you know, and just kept you there. Opium came out in 1977. It was inspired by the Empress of China. So that's where it came from. So they didn't want to change the name of opium because of, you know, that factor. And he didn't, and it stayed. You know, as time went on, people forgot all about why it was called opium, and the fragrance itself spoke for the name. Like, the fragrance is opium, not the product in which the negativity side of it is. But once people got a whiff of it and they started just mesmerized and turned things around, and opium became an icon. Came out in 1977, an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Opium. That's the 3rd spot. Let's get to number 2. All right, fam. For the 2nd spot, we don't even really have to get into this any much because it's considered the king. A lot of people probably put this in their number 1 spot, but to me personally, as far as icon status, I believe there is another that holds the position of the number 1 fragrance as far as iconic symbols come. Not symbol, iconic status relates to it. And for number 2 spot is Aventus. Okay, Aventus. So we don't even need to go in, but when Aventus came on the scene, once again, it swept the world by storm. It was a niche fragrance, not a designer fragrance, and people were, you know, getting the differences of niche. Now, mind you, when Aventus first came out, I guarantee you those batches were more potent and a lot better than the batches that are coming out now. So I'm talking about as far as icon statuses. I guarantee that first batch that was ever produced in New York. Oh man, I know that thing was nice. Oh God, I know that thing was some. Could you imagine how much an original bottle of Aventus, an original unopened bottle of Aventus would cost right now? I'm gonna research that. I'm gonna find that out. I'm curious about that. Okay, but still, Aventus is number 2. All right, as far as iconic status, let's get to number 1. Okay. All right, family. For my number 1 iconic fragrance of all time, Coco Chanel number 5. You can disagree. Okay, I give you. You have that right. You have that right to disagree, but I guarantee you, if you do your research as far as fragrances are concerned, Coco Chanel number 5 will be at the top of the list. Number 1 or number 2. I guarantee it will not be number 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be either number 1, number 2. Coco Chanel number 5. And it was really in 1954, Coco Chanel really got put on the map by Marilyn Monroe because of a statement that she made. She said she never, ever, ever goes to bed without wearing Chanel number 5. So, not saying that could lift it to icon status because Marilyn Monroe also is an icon in her in the entertainment world. All right, despite, you know, her other adventures that she had going on, but still, Coco Chanel number 5 is my number 1 spot as far as iconic fragrance. Now, when it comes to fragrances that are my number 1 and my icon, the one that I put above all other fragrances, this the one fragrance that I put above any other fragrance in the world, any other fragrance, my number 1 iconic fragrance, the icon itself is, well, if you watch my channel, you know, Deuces.